Some time ago, while reviewing two books with Professor Wole Soyika, we asked him what he thought about today's agitation for a separate state called Biafra. Here's how he responded.
I wrote an article, I remember at the time, during the war, and I said, Biafra cannot be defeated. People misunderstood what I was saying. I'm saying that once an idea has taken hold, you cannot destroy that idea. You may destroy the people, the carriers of that idea on the battlefield. Yes, this is known. But ultimately, it's not the end of the story. Otherwise, the Scots would not have gone recently through a process of trying to detach themselves from Great Britain, old as that democracy is. And yet that was taking place in the United Kingdom. So let's not take this position of don't even talk it. Under my watch, this will never happen. Don't say things like that. Go into that environment and ask, what is it that we can do to make you content, to make you happy, to make you feel part of this entity. There is no need. These are the advantages of staying. Listen to some other Biafrans and ask them why they want to stay. This is what we are ready to push as the overall governance authority in this area. But don't go around saying the sovereignty of this nation is indivisible, is non-negotiable. All that kind of language, for me, it only makes matters worse.
As Nigeria learns from Biafra, is there a link between Biafra and the many developmental problems of Nigeria? What needs to be done to fix Nigeria's problems? Chudi Ofodile, a lawyer, politician, and former member of Nigeria's House of Representatives, attempts to answer these and many other questions in his book titled The Politics of Biafra and the Future of Nigeria. No matter the side of the divide you are, it's a book that will likely draw out different emotions from you. Chudi Ofodile joins us to review his book and discuss the sensitive yet significant subject of Biafra. Chudi Ofodile, thanks for joining us on Channels Book Club.
Thank you very much, Kunle.
Let me read from page 15. You said the Federalists belong to the Nnamdi Azikiwe school of thought, and the separatists belong, to the Emeka Ojukwu school of thought. Basically, you describe two schools of thought. The separatists and the Federalists. So there are Igbos who believe that Biafra should come out of Nigeria and stand alone, the separatists, the Nnamdi Kanus. Yes. And then there are Igbos who say, look, within Nigeria, Biafra can have some kind of semi-independence. So they say restructure Nigeria and let the federating units, be loose and free and all that. So the Federalists, the Zik movements, the separatists, the Nnamdi Kanu school of thought, the Ojukwu primarily. Where do you stand? Are you in the Zik school or the Ojukwu school?
Well, it's an interesting situation as you just painted. It depends on the period. Okay. Now, during the period of crisis leading to the declaration of war, Zik and Ojukwu were on the same side up till Aburi, and then after Aburi and the declaration of war, the early years of Biafra, Zik and Ojukwu were on the same side ideologically. Okay. Then up till sometime late 1968, because up till that time there was still negotiations going on after declaration of Biafra and Nigeria. They were still trying to negotiate under the aegis of the OAU, heads of state, and all kinds of groups coming, trying to broker peace. Up till the end of 1968, when Ojukwu made the proclamation that Biafra's sovereignty was not negotiable. It was at that point that Zik now left and went on exile to London. So if you take the circumstances of that period, you will see that if I were in Biafra at that time, I would not have gone with Zik.
You would have gone with Ojukwu?
Yes. Because of the circumstances. Okay? But now, today, yes, IPOB demonstrators are being killed. Unarmed demonstrators being killed. But as bad and as horrible as it is not the same thing as bombs dropping on, women and children as was taking place in 1968. So the point is that the engagement process should be different. The interesting thing is that today, Zik and Ojukwu would have been on the same side.
Will they?
Yes, because the question now should be, are we interested in creating a semi-autonomous unit within Nigeria to have federating units, maybe 6 federating units or whatever number? Or do you want a separate state?
So you reckon that if Ojukwu were alive today,
yes,
he will be saying to Nnamdi Kanu, that's not the way to go?
Ojukwu may not say so to Nnamdi Kanu for the simple reason that Ojukwu and I believe every right-thinking person should also take into consideration the fact that every citizen, every adult citizen is entitled to his or her own point of view. So that if Nnamdi Kanu believes that Biafra should be a separate country, that is a point of view.
Because that would have been consistent with what Ojukwu believed and did in the late 60s.
The circumstances, I keep referring you to the situation at the time.
Situation changed.
Yes. So when situations change, so people can shift ideologically. So that's the point, that what we're dealing with today is not so much about where Mr. A or Mr. B stands on these issues, but the right and freedom of people to agitate for whatever they want, so long as they do it within the law. So it's not a question of where do I stand. Basically, it's a matter of what rights are we entitled to as citizens of Nigeria, and how are those rights protected under the law?
Okay, now, this is relevant to this conversation. You said in page 197, let me read what you wrote here. President Buhari has his own issues with the Igbo. He becomes irritated when confronted with issues relating to Igbo marginalization or Biafra. I also have to read that immediately after that you did say that Buhari has a certain authenticity that can help to achieve genuine national reconciliation if he so desires. You then wrote after, in page 108, you said, a significant number of the Igbo diaspora do not believe that Nigeria is redeemable. They believe in Biafra and are funding the process that could lead to its realization. I believe that Nigeria is redeemable if we fight for its liberation from the clutches of agents of centralization.
Yes.
Okay, stay with me, sir. I was just curious. Okay.
Yeah.
Then you now wrote in page 200, one of the reasons Obasanjo becomes very irritated over the current Biafra agitation, aside of the Civil War victor mentality, is that he knows very well that it sprouted on his watch. Okay, so you said Buhari gets agitated when it comes to the issue of Igbo. You said Obasanjo gets agitated when it comes to the issue of Biafra. Do you believe that Buhari and Obasanjo are agents of centralization? Is that your take on those leaders, that they push for a strong central government Agents of centralization.
Yeah, agents of centralization are basically people who, by their training, military officers who get into government and they only understand command and control. And then their own idea, of Nigeria is Nigeria that is controlled from the center, from Abuja. Okay. Now, that is the problem. General Obasanjo, General Buhari, General Babangida, all the generals, who have, one time or the other been in office in Nigeria, they all belong to that school of thought.
Thank you very much. It's been a nice time with you here, reviewing your book, The Politics of Biafra and the Future of Nigeria. Thank you. Congratulations on your book.
Thank you, Kunle. Thank you very much.